Cool, that's hot. Oh, hello, welcome. Welcome to live number 154. We're just going to allow everyone to get their feet under the table. I will start with an apology. Let me just do this a second. I uploaded a video about the BBC's apology to some of the victims in the Alex Belfield stalking and harassment case. And I recorded it in a particular way so that the camera was different from normal. I simply can't rectify what is going on with this live. We've tried it 2 different ways. It's not the iPhone, it's something within YouTube. Don't know what it is or how, but it just will not mirror. That's why my poster there has the writing reversed. So we're still struggling to reverse that. But in the video for the BBC's apology, it just looks fine. So I'm using exactly the same iPhone, exactly the same settings. When I record a video, it records that way and it's fine. And when I do the live, there is something within either the software or whatever it is that is not reversing it. So I apologize at the beginning so that everyone that gets their feet under the table will know eventually that I have tried, but we just can't work out a solution. We've tried a couple of different ways, can't work out the solution. So it's going to need someone that's a bit more techie savvy than me, to be fair. Cough still here. Where are we? Let's get into some of your... So tonight on the live, I've got some questions for you because there's loads going on, but nothing going on, really. It's all for show. So I've got some questions for you around what you would prefer and how and when and where. And we're going to get into that. I'm gonna, for the first time in a long time, I'm going to use some of your comments on the BBC response video. And I've got an insight into Ukraine and Zelensky from somebody who kind of has the expertise. I'm not going to say any more than that because they always have to remain anonymous. But I had an email from somebody that I trust implicitly. They've got a great insight into military and what is going on. So I'm going to read that on the live tonight. I must say hello to my dear friends Mike and Joyce, who looked after me yesterday. And I had the most soul-nourishing day with a couple of long standing friends. And it was just marvellous, wonderful, absolutely superb. So thank you to Mike and Joyce for a wonderful day yesterday. Thank you. We've got lots to get through, but nothing to get through, if that makes any sense, because it's the same old sort of script. It's a bit like being a monarch or a royal family. I knew there was something I would forget to do. Oh, in the words of the great Chinese philosopher, bollocks. Let me see if I can't print it off. Maybe bagger. Yeah, bagger. Maybe I'll do a different. It's something that I wanted to. It's an open letter to King Charles, and I know where there's will, there's definitely a way, and I can untie a bra with one hand, so I've got skills. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do that. And actually, I'll just read it from your computer screen. But we will get to that in just a little while. So I'm looking for your opinions on stuff for the first 15 minutes of the live tonight. It's Ask Adrian Everything. If there's anything that I've been broadcasting, any of the subject matters, any of the details, anything that I've told you over the past 2 years, you ask and I'll tell you. Just so that you can ask any question on any subject if you don't understand anything. because I was talking, as said, thank you to my friend Mike and Joyce. Mike said to me yesterday, he said, Adrian, it's very clever, it's very intelligent, but not everyone understands everything. Sometimes they don't understand your code. They might not understand what you're saying. So if you could, and that was for my mate Mike, he just said, just have a little, get people to understand what you're talking about, the subject matters, the detail, the code, when you can and can't say things. So tonight, for the first 15 minutes, if you wish, you can ask any question you want. If you don't have any, if you don't understand anything, I mean, I'll be first in the queue. But, oi, oi, oi. Now, I've tried to start this live with a little less of an adrenaline hit to try and stop the coughing, because I do believe it's hormonal. So just in case you don't understand, you're probably going to say, hang on, Adrian, what's the difference between a hormone and a vitamin? You can't hear a vitamin. Cuban Pete says, oh, now I know where I've heard old Two Tears' voice before. It's Zippy from Rainbow. Yes, I did notice PMQs today, which was utterly dull. I mean, Kemi not good enough. She literally is not good enough. She's standing there not asking the appropriate questions. We want to know what's going on. We want to know what's going on with Trump and Zelensky. We want to know how much money, as in the billions, that we've spunked up the wall in the name of political ego. No, she didn't ask anything. She's not asking about the by-election that's going to happen up north in Cheshire, because Slugger, the last Slugger MP who had a go at someone, he's had to step down. So there's going to be a by-election just in time for Reform civil unrest. It's civil war in the Reform Party. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's just entertainment. Don't worry. Britain's got plastic surgery. You'll be on straight afterwards. So your government loves you. Go back to sleep. Stuart, evening, Rev. There's enough money in the swear box to get a lifetime supply of Bamberg. Oh, must be plenty in there then. Alta wine and Jaeger bombs. I'm off to the shops. She'll be back by 8 o'clock. So hopefully Stuart's in the body of the Kirk. If you have forgotten Alta wine and or food, a bit of Battenberg, and the Jaeger bombs are for me. So the All says, evening all, with his underhandedness interference in the Reform Party, has Elon Musk bitten off more than he can chew? Well, by any accounts, by the amount of kids he's got, he's definitely going to not bite anything. To answer your question, the All I think Musk's got plenty on his plate. I started watching again the Elon Musk chat with Joe Rogan earlier. Very interesting. He's now more measured than he was. But I know that he said that Nige, they could find a better leader than Nige. And then I think Rupert has... you see, I can't take anybody that's called Rupert. I can't take anybody called Rupert seriously. Why? You ask any of the special forces grunts, and they're not grunts by any stretch of the imagination, but ask what they call their officers. Rupats. That's northeastern for Ruperts. Andrew James says at the Bovril, Farage is up to his usual flip-flopping. He is waiting to be leader of the Tories. Farage is part of the establishment. He is now, at latest count, I think he's got about 4 million in the bank. He only had two and a bit. And that's why they had all this fury at Coots Bank. And no, you can't have a bank account here. You haven't got 4 million. Well, he has now. So I wonder if he's still got the Coots account. Andrew James also said, get me a few... Andrew James, this is a family show. How could you ask for a few nuddy books whilst poor Stewart is in the local. I don't think that he's A, tall enough to reach the top shelf, or B, they actually sell anything other than beer in the off license. Is the off license still a thing? I mean, I know what it means, as in not in a pub, not a licensed pub. It's off license. I mean, gone are the days where you could take your bottles back and get money. Now, you've got to be a certain age to be able to remember that. But can you? Do you have that long a memory? I do. Blimey. Paulie Galtieri, good evening, Adrian. Yeah, utter wrong. And the Uborval says, Andrew James, no, Farage would like to have been Tory leader, but not whilst the establishment hierarchy are still sitting in as MPs. Oh, I know. I knew what was going to happen there. I knew I was going to end up at the bottom of all the comments, because I do believe that the YouTube is a bit archaic, the software that they're using. Just give it to their AI. Seemingly, it was sentient 18 months ago. Where are we? Yes, we're there. Viv Kenyon, oh, I say, Viv in Darlow, ready, willing, and able in my pew. Bring on the ranting rev, our ranting rev, to keep us right. Viv in Darlow. As that great film broadcast. When I started my regular phone-ins in 1989, for those that are not old enough, I took was it Peter Falk, the actor who did broadcast the film. And remember, he kind of had a meltdown on air, and he says, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. So I thought, ooh, I'll nick that, because it was only 2 or 3 years old at the time. So I went on air and started kind of ranting, and I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. And it worked for the late night phone-ins on TFM, Century, et al. And then some point last year, I heard somebody doing a phone-in and doing exactly the same thing. 20 odd years later, they're still at it, nicking it. But I do welcome Viv, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Have a slide in. I think there might be some Battenberg at the end of your particular pew. Stuart and the chaps. Tom Harney's, do everyone. What a lovely evening for a good ranty rev session. Me? Rant? How very dare you? Rich evening, everyone. Just being understated as ever, Rich. Stephen Hall, hang on. Stephen Hall says, evening, Rev. Evening, young Stephen. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. I've got a few things for you tonight. Andrew James, in the field, is dreaming of a getaway. He's ready to rock his Harrington jacket. Oh, Andrew James, there's nothing better than DMs and a Harrington jacket. Let the bottle caps on his shoes jingle with every step and charm the ladies with his 80s mixtape. Any suggestions? Any suggestions of 80s songs for the mixtape? Ooh. Very first song that I played on the radio was it El Dorado? Oh, God, who the bloody hell was it again? Can't remember the band, but I played it. And my derriere was, ask any broadcaster the first time that they go on the radio, oi, 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 definitely a cure for constipation. Anyway, El Dorado, who did the song, man? Come on, Adrian. Drum Theatre. That was the very first song that I played. So you can put Drum Theatre, El Dorado in his mixtape. Karen Boo says, evening, Rev, and hope everyone is well. Yes, we're fine and dandy. Soul Rebel, evening chat, AA and chatters. Welcome, Soul Rebel. Welcome into the body of the Kirk. Ray Norton, evening all. Is anybody asking any questions? Because I'm not going to give you that long. Stop making your own gags up. Sandra, what can I say? Sandra Wytham. Hi, Adrian. I'm back off holiday. Bloody hell, how long you been away? 6 months, Sandra. Your favourite Blades fan, who's top of the league. I know. Didn't Leeds draw 1-1 the other day? And I thought, oops. But then, didn't the Blades draw on, Wednesday? It's Saturday. But Sandra, you're in pole position. What can I say? I'm jealous. I don't want us to make the playoffs. I literally don't want us to make the playoffs because we're not going to win it. We're not turning up. Sunderland are not playing well. But I will say this. I'm looking forward to next season in the Championship, because we're not going to go to the Premiership. And if we're not. We're not. I do wish Sheffield United and Leeds well, because they're the best two sides. Although Burnley is, they're not far behind. And we're like 13 points ahead of 5th or something stupid like that. So we are 4th in the league. So we'll play 6th. I'm bound to get beaten. So it's not been a happy season, but I think what we'll end up doing, he did experiment with 4-3-3 the other day. I think it was 4-4-2 to start. But we have two, Mayenda and Mundle. We have two cracking players that I think we should stick two up top. We'll be knocking them in for fun with Isidore Wilson. I think that Bellingham is going to leave this summer. I think he's not played well at all this season. He's being distracted. By what? I've no idea. But you see, Sunderland's always been known as a drinking club. They would all get shitted and then go out and play the game. That's why they'd be falling over. And that's why they couldn't play. And that's why, oh, their legs are heavy. That's because they've had a large couple before they've gone on the pitch. I'm not suggesting this particular team, but I am saying in the past, Sunderland was known as a very heavy drinking club. Matthew Whedon, good evening. Evening, Matthew. Welcome to the Body of the Cook. Kathy Harper's also with us. Evening, Kathy. Peter Sadler, evening, Adrian and chat. Stuart says, so it's not your phone, it's YouTube. Well, as I said a little earlier, Stuart, I recorded the BBC apology video, didn't do anything in the phone, just literally uploaded it. Didn't have to touch anything in my phone, and yet I come to do this live and it's reversed. So I have no clue whatsoever, but it must be within YouTube that's doing it. And someone did have a feeling that when I went out to Malta and did the lives, it may have skewed something. Not quite sure, but it's never been the same since I went out to Malta. Thank you, Stuart. Manda Sky, good evening, Adrian and chat. Manda, welcome to the Body of the Cook. Make sure you can get your derriere into... well, the pews are very popular this evening. And smash the likes on your way in, ya wrong uns. God, blimey, tough audience. Oi, oi, oi. I can see you. Says, hello, nice to have someone start on time. Hang on. Do other people not start on time? Or do they just kind of rock up 10 minutes later? Des Ashton says, good evening, wrong uns. And what will be the sermon cover tonight? Well, in the sermon tonight, we're talking America, because Trump is flooding the zone. Did you see Trump and Musk and Trump going, right, I'll buy a Tesla from you. Can you drive, Donald? No. Do I need to? I just want to buy the car. Well, you can buy the car, but surely you want to drive the car. I've never been able to drive a bloody car in my life. I've got servants for that. Cell Rebel says, bet it's a StreamYard thing. I don't understand what that is. I'm not using StreamYard. We looked at all of the different permutations at the beginning of the channel, and StreamYard wants to put a watermark on the video. I don't want StreamYard to put a watermark on my video. They can how do we end shite? But then you have to pay. But if you pay your monthly subscription, you can have the watermark taken off. No. But Soul Rebel, we will continue to look at it. Cuban Pete, 1. I am going to ask you loads of questions tonight. I've got 4 set up for you, so we're going to ask one every half an hour or so. Right, let's get to the bottom. Andy the Gabby Cabby has same issue. Give him a message. You might be able to help. Oh, thank you, Ray. The only thing is that poster there with the print there. It's reversed. So Rebel, yeah, I'd heard that about Silver Fox registering his YouTube channel abroad following his arrest. It's getting very worrying, and a lot of YouTubers are getting nervous about what is going on. I did see Andy's video just before I came on air, because I was mucking about with with YouTube, trying to sort stuff out, and in your feed it offers videos. So it's a quick 5-minute video. I had a quick watch of it. Very good, very, very good. And he was saying that some YouTubers are being arrested for just offering an opinion. I am going to quote the law this evening, not on this particular. Let me just make sure that I actually have it in my notes. Oh yes, I do. So we're going to, as part of America and the Reform Civil War, we'll talk about the BBC apology video that I uploaded earlier. Starmer the utter nutter. I mean, I'm still trying to work out, is he hung like a horse? Because I'm just asking for a friend, because there was somebody that is quite sharp on X. Suddenly, I mean, we talked about particular rumours months and months and months ago, and they said, "Oh, I say, he's quite a one with the ladies. It's not his personality, surely." And what else? Oh, yes, peace in Ukraine. I'm going to give you my take on what exactly Zelensky is negotiating. Because the Nazis, the Ukrainians, Nazis, they're not bloody left, they're not Labour, and they're not Chinese Communist Party and or Russia. No, they're not that red. No, they're bloody Nazis, man. So I'll tell you what I think Zelensky was actually negotiating in Qatar. So stay with the live as much as you can tonight, because we will get through some stuff. And I'm also going to give you a United Nations declaration. Yes, because we are going to talk about the two-tier justice system in this country. Now, if you're anything but pink and white, you're getting preferential treatment. It's that two-tier, because the sentencing committee have kicked off and said, "Oh, yeah, Foxtrot Oscar, we're not doing what you want us to do. We'll do what we want to do." And the Justice Secretary has gone, "No, I'm the Justice Secretary. You'll do as you I'm ethnic minority. You'll bloody do as you're told." And they've gone, "No, we won't. No, we won't." So there's a bit of a standoff. So I did, God, it took me hours today, but I did some research, and I'm going to give you this research so that undoubtedly the other YouTubers that are watching the lives, when they do, certainly the first hour, it's a nice bit of research. Paul Morton says, "Evening all, evening Rev. Guten Abend, guten Morgen, guten Abend, good evening, pass the vino." Oh, one of those days, Paul. Okay. Have we got a full bottle of Alta wine? Because I think Paul Morton might need it on his own. One glass. Welcome, Paul. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. And, good to see 2 gits in a car back in the body of the Kirk. I'm not sure, but I think most phones, both Androids and iOS, Apple, it's only the main rear-facing camera that can reverse. The front camera that you are using, I don't think can actually reverse. But it did before, because I use the front camera so I can actually, laugh at me ugly fizzog face for radio. And we'll have a look at it. And 2 gits in the car. Thank you very much for your guidance and advice. Des Ashton says, "This way, that way, who cares as long as it's AA doing a live." Oh, you're very kind, Des. But I just, I don't want you to be watching it on your big telly and kind of saying, "Oh, look at that poster in the background. Bloody no, can't he sort that out?" I can with a hammer, but then my phone won't last that long. English bottle cap. "The last time I sat on the throne, I forgot to pull the chain." Oh, I say. I hope Mrs. Bottle Cap didn't follow you in. I say. Matthew Whedon, sharing on X and Facebook. Are you, Matthew? Thank you very much for that. I did, last week, I did say to someone that I was going to simulcast this on X, but we're not quite sure how to do it. We might have to use 2 cameras. Now, I do have another camera on the top of my computer, but it's kind of wider, and you might miss some of the special stuff I've got in the background. So we are looking at that to simulcast it, because and I know that certain YouTubers will do something on Instagram. Not quite au fait yet with Instagram, but they do the live on Instagram and then they chop it up and put it on YouTube. Clever. So, Simon, I'm not quite sure. You were the first in the body of the Kirk tonight, Simon Smedley. And I know for sure that YouTube kind of does weird things. So I saw your comment right at the very beginning, before anybody had got into the body of the Kirk. It's disappeared. Can't see it. I've not touched it because I was going to give you a mention right at the very beginning. But thank you, Simon. Yeah, King Charles the Imbecile. I tend to call him King Charles the Weak. Because I do... I mean, you know, I felt sorry for him. He was like the longest Prince of Wales in the world ever. And when I was a boy, I had a couple of pennants on my wall that my mum and dad, they'd been to Wales for something. And it was around about the time of his investiture as the Prince of Wales. And this time round, like when he gave up the job, I thought they might have done an investiture for William, but they haven't. So, and it's one of those things that would get the country together. Well, certain parts of the country. Cuban Pete says, not my king. I get it. I get it. Hang on, where's Karina Jane? Karina Jane, good evening, Adrian. I've got your cough on Lemsip tonight. Oh, no, Karina Jane. It is going around. It's not, well, my cough's not going anywhere. I haven't been for the blood test or the X-ray, because that's the kind of guy I am. NHS, I'll probably be dead within 30 minutes of having my X-ray. Oh, did I say that out loud? Don't think you saw me lips move. Jackie Glasgow's in the body of the Kirk. I did say you could ask anything. Ke, says Jackie. Ke. Paul Morton, King Charles of Islam. Yeah, I'm still. Can I just? I'm going to ask you the first question before we really get stuck into stuff. I'm going to ask you how you felt about the singing in St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, because I've got loads of books on the Knight Templar and the Crusades and history and stuff, and it was William the Conqueror that actually built a certain part of Windsor Castle. It's obviously had addendums created on the actual old castle that was built in 1070. But I'm going to ask you this one simple question. Did you view what happened in St George's Chapel positively? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Did you view what happened in St George's Chapel the other day positively? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Nicky Watson, it should never have happened. Ooh, 2. Nathan Diamond, okay, 1. I've had 2 1s, everybody's 2s. So I do say many times on this channel, keep your votes coming in, please. Ignoramus here, what happened? We had King Charles the Weak welcomed a certain denomination into St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, and Adrian Whale, halal sausage fingers. If there was a prize, welcome, Adam. So Amalia, it was a bit of a, for me personally, it was much shocking. I can't even, look, I'm a professional communicator. I do this for a living, and I can keep going for hours and hours and hours talking before you start cracking your own gags. And the so-called religion of peace, Stephen Hall. Oh, bloody hell, Des. Halal sausages, is that like vegan black pudding? Nothing better than a bit of black pudding. Make your own gags up. I'm just talking about the big sausage. Stop digging, Adrian. Cuban Pete says it was an affront. Well, judging by, we only had 2 1s, and everybody else, literally everybody else was a 2. It was so shocking for me that I couldn't, I literally couldn't speak of it. I couldn't speak of it, or I couldn't speak how I felt about it. Oh, I say. The Bovril, when King Ed took the throne, there were no more Prince of Wales until Charlie was born, hence the investiture. Ah, right. Brilliant, the Bovril. Do you know, every day is a school day. Tom Harney says I was taken aback. Paulie Gallieri says it was disgusting. As I say, Cuban Pete says it was an affront. I don't... I am a man that believes in live and let live, because you know what you give off, you get back. You'll have to Google it, Amalia. None the wiser. And because of now the rules and the Labour Party, we just have to be very careful what we say on these lives and any videos. Reg D says they don't care what they do now, anything goes. I've watched the clip of part of what went on. I've watched it dozens of times, just so that it becomes less shocking to my system. I have, like, King Charles the Weak is supposed to be the head of the Christian faith in this country. And I can't reconcile what he's doing. I don't understand it. Literally, it discombobulates me up here. I can't work out. So he's the head of the Church of England. Not Church of Scotland, that's different. Church of Wales, do they have one? Or is it just a barn full of sheep? Church of England is... Oh, Simon. It's been renamed from St George's Chapel to Allah's Snack Bar. So I couldn't... Angelic Inspirations, Communism in Action. Interesting take on that, which obviously we'll get into in just a little while. But it was so shocking. I couldn't speak. I've had to watch it dozens of times for it to be... It's... Because that's the first time. I've never seen that before. And I'm open to all religions and faiths, but please respect mine. I respect all of theirs, but I will go as far as saying that all religions are merely tools for control. So I don't subscribe to religions. I just subscribe to open-mindedness, and that was not open-mindedness. Born monarchy, in my opinion, no longer exists. I think, and that's the challenge, the difficulty. I mean, from what the king did, and I do wish him a long life. I wish him good health and a long life, because you know what he's been through is not ideal. It's not great. So Stephen says the Queen would never have allowed it. I completely agree. There seems to be, we have to give all the respect to others. There's no respect to us, even within the United Kingdom. We have Paddy's Day. When's Paddy's Day? Is that coming up? I know we've got Mother's Day in 2 weeks, and the clocks go forward the Saturday 29th, Sunday the 30th, 2 o'clock Sunday the 30th. So in 2 weeks, spring forward. So these lives will start in daylight time again. So getting back to it, we are told you have to be tolerant. If you're not tolerant, yeah, right wing. And everybody's looking at each other going, since when? I voted Labour. I voted bloody Greens. I voted bloody Lib Dems. How can I be right wing? And I'm kind of paraphrasing here. His sympathy is with the victims of him and Savile. Frank Noble. Wow. So, AA, have you watched Megan's cooking show, The Jacobite? No. Oh, shite. No. I mean, what, you want some posh bird, all fur coat, no knickers? And why doesn't she do a sailing show? Because I understand she was very good on a yacht. No, I haven't. The Jacobite. I did think about watching it just so that you didn't have to. And then I just thought, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Because I just know how, having read all the reportage in the newspapers about it, I just know that it's not going to be my cup of tea. See what I did there? So, no, I haven't. Do you suggest that I do? I mean, will I lose the will to live? Andrew Crisp says, the establishment is against white English people and all for the Muslim Brotherhood, which in the UAE is a prescribed terrorist organisation. Funny as. Doesn't Charles like taking carrier bags full of cash from certain countries in the UAE? Yorkshire Steve, it wasn't appropriate in a Christian chapel. That's a very good point. But as I say, Yorkshire Steve, it was so shocking to me that I just couldn't come to terms with it. I don't wish ill on anyone because it'll come back to me, but just have a little respect for us, the indigenous population. Oh, do you want me to do my research first off before I get to all the other stuff? Because I think it is pertinent from what we're talking about. So this thing that went on in St. George's Chapel, I mean, the fact that it's called St. George's Chapel, our national hero, our Knight Templar, our Crusader. He was born in Lebanon. Well, maybe that's why he was a bloody Crusader, because he was over there sorting it all out. And I just, we're not, like, look what happened in Southport. The locals didn't go and trash the local mosque. And when the government of the day are laying flowers, you just think, oh, hang on a second, there's a rabbit away here. You can, it's just your instinct, you can tell. So when there was everything was going on that was going on in Southport, and we were being told, you're fanning the flames, you're far right, you're fanning the flames. And everybody was looking around going, hang on, I'm not far right, I'm not fanning the flames, I'm not even there. And they're calling me far right. And then St. George's Chapel happened. So I don't know whether this is the script from the World Economic Forum in Davos, or whether it's George Soros going, oi, Charlie, another mill in the bag. And right, you need to have some of the Northerners in St. George's Chapel singing. I still have not been able to reconcile myself with that, because it doesn't. In 2025, I told you it was going to be the year of the psyop. Let's talk about ships banging into each other. The year of the psyop, where unusual things would happen with our witness, and I didn't know whether it was a setup, whether I went, oh, is that AI? So I've done a bit of digging, and I'm going to say this to everyone that's watching this channel tonight. I'm going to read to you, for very obvious reasons, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Now, I know we're a bit of a mongrel in the United Kingdom, but if you want to go to Wales or southwest England, southeast England, or the Angles, or if you want to come up to sort of Hold for Athelstan, the first great king of all of England, we have influences. Yes, the Vikings came across and gave us influences, but then we told them to Foxtrot Oscar, and they did. I mean, we changed Jorvik back to York, and said, oi, lads, bugger off. But get back up to Scotland. Yeah. Back to where you come from. Oh, by the way, if you can help the Knight Templars out, they really would love you to be able to sail their ships. Thanks very much. But the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Now, this is very powerful, a very powerful weapon of defence. If Starmer the Harmer is at it. Now, Rachel from accounts, she's going to shaft you again. She's going to bend you over again. Must be wearing a strap on. She's going to do you again with an emergency budget. And this time, she's going to do the disabled. She's going to do people who need support from me and you, the taxpayers, not the politicians. Because You know exactly what I'm saying. So, Rachel from Accounts, the Department of Work and Pensions, we're spending, I'm paraphrasing again, we're spending far too much money, so we're going to have to rein it in. So we're going to make sure that, well, your PIP and the money that you're getting, we're going to make sure that we cut it. And I thought, hang on a second, because all roads are leading to this emergency. She's going to stand up in the Houses of Parliament and go, right, we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're going to shaft the disabled, and we're going to shaft those that need our support and our help. And so she's got an emergency budget coming up. And I thought, hang on a second. How much money have you given to Ukraine? You thieving bar stewards. How much have you given to Ukraine? Oh, so you've arranged 100 years at £3 billion a year. So you have got us attached to a deal which is £300 billion over the next 100 years. And how much have you given to condom research or shagging ducks or something in Africa? Oh, £11.5 billion. Ah, right. But you're saying that the commitment to DWP is about 75 billion a year, second only to the NHS. Well, the NHS is shite. Because the older you get, the more you need them, the more you've put into the system. That's what the national insurance was all about. Your national insurance contribution is supposed to go to the NHS. Oh, no, Adrian. No. It doesn't go to that. The politicians nick it. They send it abroad and then they skim some off the top. 10% Terry. Told you before. So these politicians are all skimming off the top. They're corrupt. The corruption is evident everywhere. So we'll get to Rachel Reeves and Tina Barwick. Is it Barwick or Barwick, Tina? I'm from Ormsby. Grimsby. Sorry, Tina. Couldn't believe this story. Human error arrested the Russian captain of the cargo vessel. Dread to think what's in those containers. We will never know. Sad news. I agree. But once it's in international waters, it's more than 5 miles offshore? Isn't that international waters? So if it's in international waters, the laws of this land don't apply. So they've arrested somebody on manslaughter charges. Now I heard that a bit like that ship in America that struck the bridge, somebody said that the ship was taking control. Somebody hacked the computer controls and took control of it and steered it into the bridge. And then this happens in the North Sea outside of our jurisdiction, and it was straight ahead. 16 knots. 16 knots! That's going to produce a hell of a clatter. And somebody hacked the computer system because it was on automatic. It was on auto. It was on auto steer and everything. The computer was taken care of. Now, I don't know whether arresting the captain is kind of just process, but I'd heard that somebody somewhere unknown hacked the computer steering system and or the computer and steered it straight into, well, they're saying that it's military jet fuel. I'd heard that it was just paraffin, but it's making a hell of a dint in the boat. And it's is the fire still going? They said, oh no, we'll put it out. Well, nobody can see because you can't go out there and have a look, can you? No, unless you can use the satellites. So those two ships, it just well, pardon the pun, it's not intended. It just smells a bit fishy, if you know what I mean. And Angelic Inspiration says 16 knots, screams of psyop to me. You're catching on, Angelic Inspirations. English bottle cap, a US MOD oil tanker too. I know, it just, I mean, I know we've had 5 years of all this malarkey going on, of them lying to us, blatantly lying to us, and then saying, you're far right, well, we'll just jail you all for memes on Facebook. Tina Barwick says it was military jet fuel in the tanker Stena. Barwick is how you say it. Thank you, Tina. There was visibility. If navigation failed, the crew in the bridge have eyes. Yeah, but they didn't go, oh, Captain, we're right in the doo-doo now. We're going to hit that ship over there. One's like about 600 feet long. It's not a little one. Alan says Uncle Albert was at the helm. Some people will get that. It was actually carrying the IMF bailout money to the UK. They weren't carrying the gold that they borrowed for Fort Knox in America for the cameras. And then once they've had the camera, I mean, Musk and Trump have not been to Fort Knox yet, have they? So they've got to keep the gold over there. So it's not that. Full steam ahead, 16 knots. I mean, have you noticed how the reportage, it goes certain ways? It's this. A seaman lost his life due to the collision. Normally they would inform the family, and they haven't, have they? I don't know, because they haven't said. But normally they would give his name, because he was a crew member, so they would know who it was. Here, have you seen Ethel on? No. Was she in the galley sorting out dinner? Don't know where she was. She just wasn't, she's not anymore. So, Stuart, I heard X went down the other day. On who? So I'm absolutely not believing what I'm being told by the mainstream media. Are you believing what you're reading in the newspapers when these shysters 5 years ago were telling you to take the jibber jabber? We were all going to die if we didn't. Oh, no, you've got to take the jibber jabber. It's 95% effective. And then it wasn't 95% effective. It wasn't even 90 or 80 or 70 or 60 or 50 or even 45% effective. So these lying toe rags who were paid off by governments and Big Pharma, I don't believe a word they tell me. Not a word. Well, these two little dinghies in the North Sea that kind of went kaboom, I don't believe anything that they're reporting, because they're not reporting much. No. They are reporting the jailing of the crossbow killer. Oh, and see, this is, if I put this up, it just don't make any sense. Can you read the right to left? No, but it says, Wes aid flashed girl 13. So a Labour Party member got his old boy out, his old chap out, in front of a 13-year-old girl. I do hope they well, can't comment. He's been arrested, so it's active. So let me do this for you. The United Nations, use this, remember this, and reference this video, because at some point we're going to need this. So the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, it's Article 8 that you need. I'm going to read it to you. Indigenous peoples and individuals, this is Article 8, have the right not to be subjected to forced assimilation or destruction of their culture. Do you want me to read it? There's not much to it, but it's fairly powerful. Indigenous peoples and individuals have the right not to be subjected to forced assimilation or destruction of their culture. Now, as mad as we may be, there is more to come, by the way. As mad as we may be, and kind of a bit, the foreigners look at us and laugh. We don't care. We can wear as many hankies on our head as we wish and drink as much beer as we want, because all they want out of us is profit. So it's that's the first part of Article 8 of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. The next part says, and I'm reading verbatim and quoting, states shall provide effective mechanisms for prevention of and redress for any action which has the aim or effect of depriving them of their integrity as distinct peoples or of their cultural values or ethnic identities. So we Ginge are protected. Protected. Nobody else. No one. Well, yeah, you, because you're here and you're English. And I can trace my English legacy and heritage back to 600 AD. We have done with the Vikings and Rollo in northern France. We've kind of flip-flopped across when, I mean, you know, 1200 years ago, maybe my relatives were actually speaking French. But then the hoi polloi in this country, the royals and the monarchy and the well-to-do, they all spoke French. They didn't speak English. They all spoke French. Any action which has the aim or effect of dispossessing them of their lands, territories, and resources. I'm going to read you this again to completion, because these two paragraphs, and there's one more to come, are so powerful in protecting English, Scottish, Welsh. And the only way they're getting around it is saying, oh, it's Great Britain. No, go off. It's not Great Britain. It's England. I may be a Briton from antiquity, but, you know, the Scots have their particular foibles. Whiskey, alcohol, anyone? The Welsh have their particular foibles. Sheep. And they can't take this away from us. So I will read it to you again to prove the point. And the point is this. States, and this is, again, for anybody that's just joining the live, this is the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, Article 8, Paragraph 2. States shall provide effective mechanisms for prevention of and redress for any action which has the aim or effect of depriving them of their integrity as distinct peoples, or of their cultural values or ethnic identities. Face for radio. Any action which has the aim or effect of dispossessing them of their lands, territories, or resources. So the Labour Party has spunk in billions on people coming into this country. And this, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, they can't, our taxes, they can't then just give away our resources. Our resource being the moolah. Can't give that away. It's not in their behest to do so. And paragraph 3 of this, it's Article 8. Any form of forced population transfer which has the aim or effect of violating or undermining any of their rights. I'll read it and repeat it again for you. Any form of forced assimilation or integration, any form of propaganda designed to promote or incite racial or ethnic discrimination directed against them. So if anybody is kicking off about us having, I don't know, I'll read it again and then I'll comment. Any form of forced population transfer which has the aim or effect of violating or undermining any of their rights, any form of forced assimilation or integration, any form of propaganda designed to promote or incite racial or ethnic discrimination directed against them. This is the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, Article 8, 3 paragraphs. So basically, they can't do what they're doing. They can't tell us what they're telling us, which is, no, you're bloody racist, man. No, we're not. We are the indigenous peoples of this land. Doesn't matter how much heritage or history we've got. We are all, anyone that holds a British passport is thereby British. So they are covered by the United Nations. United Nations. Are they going to turn around and say, oh, no, can't do that, it's not international law, it's probably United Nations. So there you have it. There are things that are protecting us from what these wobbly heads in the Pink Palace in London are doing to us and allowing. Let's move quickly to, but UCHR trumps everything. European Convention on Human Rights. Shouldn't that be ECHR? European Convention on Human Rights. They're trying to get rid of it. The Tories have said that. UN will say the UK is too white. Frank Noble says, also the UN Compact on Migration also contravenes the 1948 Convention on Genocide 2, Hallmark 2, Section C. Thank you, Frank. And Stephen Hall, BBC love discriminating against the British population. They can't. It's the three paragraphs. What they do cover is individuals have the right not to be subjected to forced assimilation or destruction of their culture. So the BBC have to be very, very careful. They can't force anything onto us. I mean, I know back in the 70s, you could say racially anything you want and get away with it on the BBC. Evidence for the prosecution, my lord? Alf Garnett. But then you couldn't talk about or anything in the 70s. Burlington Bertie's making a very good point. Immigrants can have a passport, Adrian. I said, yeah, British passport, though. Indigenous people are people born in the specific country. Well, you know, on my mum's side, I've traced it back. On my dad's side, we got back to about 1100 sheep shaggers and horse thieves in the borders. But on my mum's side, we went, oh, blimey, back to the Vikings with some MPs and oi polloi and moneyed people. Obviously, didn't filter down to me. But so the paragraphs, the indigenous peoples and individuals have rights. Then the state, that's the government, that's two-tier, free gear, queer as folk, Kia, states shall provide effective mechanisms for the prevention of and redress for A, any action which has the aim or effect of depriving them of their integrity as distinct peoples. We are very distinct from everybody else in the whole wide world because we're just fantastic. Never lose a war, really intelligent, and drink lots. Any action which has the aim or effect of dispossessing them of their lands, territories, and resources. That is really important. And any form of forced population transfer which has the aim or effect of violating or undermining any of their rights, any form of forced assimilation or integration, any form of propaganda designed to promote or incite racial or ethnic discrimination directed against them. So we can level at this British government, the Labour Party, which is not really the Labour Party that we're aware of or were aware of, that I was a member of for many years. No, it's not that Labour Party. It's the World Economic Forum Party. And any propaganda, which means anything in the mainstream media, anything on the BBC, anything on the telly, any propaganda on social media if they're using bots, any propaganda designed to promote or incite racial or ethnic discrimination, calling us right-wing, they can't do it under the UN no, I don't want it. Under this particular UN charter. They can't do it. They simply can't do it. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. We have rights, and these bunch of shysters are actually taking it away from us. They can't. They can't. So now that you are armed with that, Paulie Galtieri, Adrian, the Labour Party needs immigrants for votes. I know they do, because they want to stay in power for however long. They want to grift and take our taxes, our national insurance. They want to take everything, spunk it abroad, and then get kickbacks galore. A bit like how Zelensky made really good pals with President Brown Trousers, Joe Shitty Pants Biden. And then Zelensky came out when Trump got into power and says, I tell you what, Joe, right, 92 million in kickbacks that fecker got from the money that went into Ukraine. And then Trump gets into power and Zelensky's like, sorry, Don, can we have peace? We need to see the bookstore. I don't know where it's gone. There's 100 billion missing. I don't know where it's gone. I don't know. Ask Joe, brown trousers. Ask Joe. The only president that we're aware of that shits himself in public. Past tense. Des Ashton, United Nations charters are meaningless shite. I get it, Des, but it's written down. And if it's written down, we can use it. Sleepy Joe and Auto Pen. Agreed, Ray Norton. Martine says, I've been wondering how this is all being allowed. There had to be something that can stop them. Donald Trump and Doge so far. A stat that I got from listening to Elon Musk. Do you know that the debt in America, because it's bankrupt, America's bankrupt, which is bizarre because they can print their own money. So how can it be bankrupt? And who's it bankrupt to? Mars? So America's bankrupt. And Stuart, the only president that's farted in public and didn't realise, oh, he definitely followed through. Definitely touched cloth. Definitely. Because he had to waddle off with Jill Biden going, oh, Joe, man, I thought I told you to wear that bloody nappy, man. Oh, I forgot. Right, just don't waddle too hard, otherwise it'll start running down your legs. Let's get the BBC. Did a video that is there for your entertainment and delectation. The BBC apologised to 4 of the victims in Alex Belfield's stalking and harassment court case. And it's taken them 2.5 years to apologise. And it's an unreserved apology. There's no equivocation, there's no doubting anything. The language is really clear and precise. We apologise unreservedly. And was it Dame Janet Smith who did that review of Savile and Rolf Harris and the It's a Knockout guy, Stuart? They had a look at their activities at the BBC. And it was found that Jimmy Savile raped an 8-year-old girl on BBC property. And well, nothing came of that. Nothing. Frank Noble says these treacherous forces won't stop until either the people stop them or it gets too late in the day. Interesting point. And Joey Fartpants of Viz comic strip. Could be a new character. Don't, Adrian, don't. That will get you into big trouble. I've got loads of gags going around in my head, and I've got to filter them really quickly. Otherwise, me and you were in trouble. So, the BBC, it's not often that they apologise. I've given you an example. It's not often that they apologise, but the apology video, there is a link to the statement under, where it says comments, not comments, description or something. I put that in there so you can read it yourself. And that apology is big, big news. I'm sure that by the time... Stuart makes a very good point. Why now, 2.5 years later? Interesting question. Exactly that says, why am I getting Michael Barrymore notifications? Is he on YouTube? I saw in the newspaper the other day that he's getting a lot of views, he's getting a lot of people watching his YouTube stuff. I mean, I've just got 2 words to say to him and his channel. Stuart Lubbock. Man died on your premises and you're still not really engaging anyone. Rich says because AB will be news in a few weeks. Not till June. He's not getting out till June 15th. Paul Morton says, don't worry. It's probably I'll wait on the night. Barrymore does TikTok. Rev. Thank you, Andrew. So he's trying to make money. I mean, it's a bit... The U Bovril says, bollocks to them. £2 in the swear box. Thank you, the U Bovril. That's actually made me laugh. So I'm going to read some of your comments because some of the comments on the video are actually really pertinent. And I'm going to respond to them. So Andy Turner, who's normally in the on the live, says, I smell bull. Why take so long to apologise? I smell a rat. Now, this is the kind of zeitgeist in the comments. They're asking why 2.5 years down the line apologise. The fact is that they have is a big deal, because the BBC don't apologise. They're too big and wieldy. They can do whatever they want, and they invariably do. So I'm really, really happy and pleased for the 4 victims that were involved in the case, and in my view, were just cast to the wind, which was disgusting at the time for what they had to go through. And the BBC in their statement have acknowledged that. So you can go and watch the video. It's only 6 minutes. Either do it after the live, or you can watch it now and come back to the live. But the BBC acknowledged that they got it wrong, and they should have supported their staff more. And it's a full and unreserved apology by the BBC. It's very clear language. They're not mucking about. It's very clear language. But like a lot of people are saying, why now? 2.5 years down the line, and he's out in, where are we, March, 3 months? I will give you my take on what I feel is going to happen. Oof, and Get Floaters with Barrymore. Is that a new TV show for him? Inspector Form, BBC. Another joke by the BBC. What happened about Savile and Hugh Edwards and others? It's a joke. 2 years too late, which is how the BBC work. Well, they've released it, and I'm able to... Des Ashton says limitation of liability. Very good point, Des. But the reason why I'm making you aware of this is so that you are aware of this, so that it's not being swept under the carpet, and the BBC have fully and formally apologised. In Dame Janet Smith's review, nothing came from it. They found that Savile raped an 8-year-old girl on BBC property, and nothing came of it because Savile was dead at that point. I mean, you can't libel a dead man, can you? Hang on. If you're going for it, says Rich, here's another swearbox donation. I think I've been quite sweary Mary tonight so far, but I've been also quite measured. Now, there's another hour to go, so who knows? I might just get very potty mouthed, but thank you, Rich. Always appreciate it. Tempered Glass says, did this guy make any comment about Alex supposedly returning to YouTube? No. Didn't say a thing. Tempered Glass. But it's a good entry, a lead into I believe quite strongly that Alex isn't quite getting the grasping of what's going on with him. So if Katie Hopkins wants to go into politics, not sure she's going to tour with him if she gets a sniff of getting into either Reform or UKIP. She won't get into the Tories or Labour. And I wish her well on her journey into politics, because that's, God blimey, that's a pretty nasty pit to get into politics. But, you know, A will not be able to stop himself mentioning the Vine, and will get shanghaied straight back for a full term sentence. He'd be full of bravado and drop himself in it. So I will get to that in just a second, Nicholas. So I don't think he's grasping it, and I think those around him, some of them might be steering him in a particular direction. I'm not suggesting anybody is, but if Katie wants to go into politics, she might have to distance herself when she's been a loyal supporter of the convicted stalker. And I think he believes he's the smartest man in the room. And this is in response to Tempered Glass. I think his license will, on release, will actually stop him from doing certain things. Because he used social media, and because he has social media, he has his YouTube channel with all those subscribers. So he may use that to just make announcements. But he said he's written 6 books, and he's got 2 tours written. Now, written is a really loose term with young Alex, because he's not a great writer. He's a verbalist. He remembers a whole lot, and he talks it, which is why the tours might be good for him. But as I've said it before, previously, he went to Nottingham Magistrates Court, I think it was, and told the court when Nottinghamshire police were trying to get 20 grand out of him for costs, he said, I can't make any money. I've got no money. And his barrister, because I was there watching it on the TV, the barrister says he's got no way of earning any money when he's released from prison. So they said, well, 400 odd quid. So I can't believe that they will allow him any leeway because of what he did to end up in prison. So I believe that the restrictions are going to be quite tight. Thank you, Tempered Glass. Andy Sinsky says he still has to pay thousands of pounds in compensation to Jeremy Vine and DC Janet Percival. Once he's out of jail, the bailiffs will be knocking at his Gedling address. Maybe he's paid the money already, Andy. We don't know until that becomes available via Company's House. But I do hope that Jeremy and DC Janet Percival have been paid, have had their legal fees paid, their compensation paid. But the one thing he hasn't done, and this was for the DC Janet Percival case, he, via his barrister, in the High Court, said that he would issue a full and unreserved apology on his social media, and hasn't. So I don't know whether he's in contravention of the agreement to the court. Shirefine says, I smell a rat. Since when does the BBC openly apologise about anything? Is Alex being released very soon? Thanks, Adrian. Yeah, June 15th. I think. Might be before, might be after. Who knows? God moves in mysterious ways, so they say. Lorraine McCoy says, taken them long enough. He put them through hell. Agreed, Lorraine. But the BBC, I get what everybody's saying. I completely understand it. But the BBC have apologised, a full and unreserved apology. So they know they could have done better. They've said this in the statement. You can go and read it for yourself. That in itself is quite wild because the BBC don't do that. But they have. They've acknowledged it. They've put things in place to make sure it doesn't happen again. And the welfare of their staff, they say, according to this statement that they've released, is a big deal for them. I'm paraphrasing that a little bit. So, Paulie Gallieri, what about a fraud investigation for the missing hundreds of thousands of pounds? Maybe that's coming, Paulie. I did say anyone, and I know a few people that donated to his legal fund, and I'll paraphrase this because I did do a video on it a long time ago, that fraud is not using the donations for the purpose for which they were donated. So if he didn't take the BBC on, that's what he was asking for. Help him have his day in court. And if he doesn't take on Nottinghamshire Police, well, that's what he was asking for donations for. So in essence, if he didn't use those donations for the purpose for which they were donated, then Action Fraud may have a case. They could be waiting for him to be released. Rich, false pretenses. I know. But as I say, I spoke to the people who donated and I said, you're going to have to contact Action Fraud. It's pointless me doing anything or saying anything. It has to go through the right channels and Action Fraud. So what happens with Action Fraud? Action Fraud's run by the City of Police in London. The police force that runs the Square Mile. Obviously got now to do. The Square Mile in London, what they do is they look at the case, and if there is a local victim anywhere in England and Wales, they will ping the case to the local force. So say it was, somewhere in Nottingham. There was a victim in Nottingham that donated to the pub, the Lamley. And they donated 20 quid and, they would give it to Nottinghamshire Police to deal with, to investigate. And if it was fraud, then it would be sent back with the statements and all the investigating that Nottinghamshire Police had done. They'd pass it back, and then it would be for City of London Police to take the case or cases to the CPS, and the CPS would decide whether there was any possible success in prosecution. Stuart says, someone rang his phone in saying, where's the money? What have you done with it? He said it was gone to charity and got all angry with her and cut her off. Always had good holidays, though. First class. I'll read some of these because there's lots of detail in some of the comments. I'll read those later. But if you haven't seen the video already, it is there for you. It was uploaded a few hours ago, within an hour of the BBC actually releasing the statement. I was going to talk to you about the front page of the Sun today. This Labour Party member, or aide, if you will. And that is a 2-day-old story on social media. So I saw the initial X reportage feed. And I thought, oh, I wonder who's going to get that. Didn't yesterday. And then they've put it front page today. So is there an agenda there to kind of smear the Labour Party or smear anyone within the Labour Party? That's why I want you to be aware of the online safety bill that's going through Parliament next week, because it's important. And talking to gingers, the Labour Party will be running it through Parliament. Now, the online safety bill has already gone through the King's opening of Parliament, and it ascended into law with royal assent, but it's not been put into law. They wanted to amend it. So what the bloody hell? You can't trust these snake oil sellers. You know that. What have they done to the online safety bill? We'll find out next week when they stand up and go, we're not telling you. I'm being facetious. I'm going to ask you a question. We'll get into some of these because we already had one vote. Which C word would you use to describe Sir Keir Starmer? Which C word, and I'm opening the floodgates here, which C word would you use to describe Sir Keir Starmer? Me? Callous. Which C word would you use to describe Sir Keir Starmer? I'll give you another one. Cold-hearted. I'll give you another one. Vocal coach. And it's gone since Christmas Eve. The vocal coach has disappeared. Why is that then? Paul Morton rhymes with, Amalia says, cunty, cunty, McCunt. Yeah, that one. Crook, says Matthew Whedon. Cesspit of dumbness, says Andrew Crisp. Camp, says Mike. Brilliant, Mike. Nicholas, charlatan. Conniver, English bottle cap. Cretinous, Tom Harneys. Hang on, Des Ashton, 69. How many C's are in 69? Cucumber, says Paul West. Stephen Hall, cruel. Burlington Bertie, colonic irrigation. Brilliant. Contentious, that's a good word. Clown, says Frank Noble. Thank you, Roy Gordon, for contentious. Catastrophic, says Andy Godfrey. Creep, says Paulie Galtieri. See you next Thursday, says Simon Smedley. Or caring, understanding 90s type. Andrew James says, vocal coach. Is that another word for Linda Lovelace? Yeah. Obviously, you've got to open your larynx, and deep throat does help you sing better or project better when you're speaking. So my doctor says. Clunge. Oh, what a great word in the field. Clunge. N says colon man. Angelic Inspiration says contemptuous. Oh, I love the comments this evening. Nathan Diamond, cabbage. Hang on, where? Cracker Jack. Wasn't it Cracker Jack where you had to hold your cabbages? Carbuncle, says English bottle cap. Right, that's just a bit of fun. But Starmer, and I maintain that it's always about deniability. Flat wallet. Send Starmer to Scunthorpe. Might enjoy that, mind you. What do you call sand in your condom? Organ grinder. C word for Starmer, past the swear box. Thank you, Stuart. That might keep me going to the end of the, barely to the end of the live, considering the amount of potty mouths we've got on the live tonight. Colonoscopy, says N. Brilliant, Stuart. Thank you very much for that. So, Starmer. I can't believe that Starmer Ginger Growler, Rachel from Accounts, et al. Man, Lammy, I mean, the fat lad Lammy, who, him and his department spending £500,000 on food and grog in a few months, last couple of months. Somebody's talking about, is it the Doolies or the Doobies? Doobies? You know what a doobie is, don't you? Brilliant. The Doobies will be ace. Where are they playing? Now, is it the Doolies from like the 70s? I remember listening to James Whale, and he played the Doolies. I think I'm going to fall in love with you, which was one of their first hits, and I loved it. I mean, honestly, me and my taste in music. Can't find it. I don't know whether it's the Doobies or the Doolies. hang on. I think I've got it there. Oh no, that was Linda Lovelace. So Lammy for the Doobie Brothers. Who's going to see the Doobie Brothers? The Doobie Brothers are fantastic. Oh, minute by minute by minute by. What a great song. And what was the? As long as they've got Michael McDonald singing with them, because that was like proper Doobie Brothers. Are you old enough to remember them? You're far too kind, Andrew James. Of course I do. So I've got Minute by Minute. What a Fool Believes. That was the song I was trying to think of. What a Fool Believes. That is just an amazing song. So if whomever's going to see a Long Train Running, I agree. I think that was pre-Michael McDonald, though. Long Train Running. Rich says, I'm working up in Berwick upon Tweed this week. Lots of near bother up here. Yeah. And in Newcastle. And Vixtech says, what a Fool Believes. I mean, that's a monstrous song. I've still got the 12 inches. Back in the day when it was like $1.99 for a 12-inch. Oh, to have those days back. Doobie Brothers, great radio music. I agree, Stephen. So What a Fool Believes. Long Train Running, still like them, even though it's not Michael McDonald singing. And Minute by Minute is just fantastic music. So I wanted to stay with Labour because I think what they're doing at the DWP and the disabled is absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. When they can give away our money, our moolah, our greenbacks to anybody they like outside of this sceptred isle, and then they're going to batter the disabled. No. I mean, I don't know about you, but I just don't recognise this Labour Party. I don't. I mean, even Blair, when he tried to bring in New Labour, that's completely different to this particular Labour Party, which is just a voice piece for the World Economic Forum. I don't recognise this Labour Party. It's not like I can look at the politicians and go, oh, they're like so and so and so and so. They're literally laughing clowns. Well, apart from Starmer, who, he's got a face sucking on 15 lemons wouldn't shift. And a vocal coach. So it's not, an anagram of Sir Keir Starmer. No, can't do that. And I just think that they're going to eventually reap what they have sowed. And they've just been abjectly evil so far, 8 or 9 months in. If it's not, Angelic Inspiration says, it is not Labour, it is communist. Remember the Bolsheviks. Yeah, so the Chinese Communist Party, the Labour Party are following their playbook. And WEF is very left-leaning, the Bolsheviks and the Chinese Communist Party. Tom Harney's is right. It looks like they're going to kick the farmers again. Yes, they are. That's what I'm saying. It almost looks like Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. This Labour Party is making so many mistakes. And yet we, indigenous peoples of this sceptred isle, we're looking on going, is that the political party, the Workers' Party that you remember from your childhood? And obviously they've made mistakes. They're making mistakes. Des Ashton says, all professional politicians are members of the Uniparty. Move along the trough. I know. How much can we get in while nobody's looking? But I will say this, in my view, this Labour Party that we can't understand because it's nowhere on our reference point or on our radar, they've betrayed every single white person. They've betrayed us. Wasn't Starmer at St George's Chapel? He should have had a word with the King. I don't know who's advising the King, but he's not getting fit and proper, appropriate and proportionate advice. I believe this Labour Party is just pure evil. Wait till we find out what they're going to do to the disabled. Look, I get that there's slackers everywhere. I come from a council estate, and there was a load of girls that I went to school with, and the first career move when they left school at 16 was knocking a baby out so they could get all the benefits, and then they've never done a day's work in their life. Thank you, Welsh lady. I just got the Welsh. I didn't see the rest of it, but thank you, the Bovril, for letting me see the whole name. Thank you, Welsh lady. The Bovril quite rightly says democracy begins then ends at the ballot box. But they're evil. They're uncaring. And I don't know whether they're being paid to be like this, because once they leave politics, or maybe go to the House of Lords, because maybe they think that they're going to go into the Lords with their ermine and their fine gowns and their £361 a day in expenses, plus, you know, your subsistence for your dinner and your drink in the House of Parliament's cafe. Can you imagine? We're on expenses. Amali says, what are they doing, for fuck's sake? Tell us now. I can't cope. They're going to take the support away from the disabled. They've said that the 75 billion DWP bill yearly has got to come down. I agree, but stop sending it to Ukraine. Stop sending it to Africa, and stop telling us there's a £22 billion black hole, because the Office of Budget Responsibility, the OBR, said there's no such thing. Paraphrase. And you can tell they don't believe it, because every time Sir Keir Starmer says it, he knows it's a lie, because every time he says it, he stumbles over it. If they'd had a £22 billion black hole and he believed them, he believed it, because in his head he's going, yeah, I know, it's that, it's that, it's that, it's that. He wouldn't stumble over his words. He wouldn't. They're uncaring. They're pure evil. And they're going for the weakest in society. No. We're humans. Humankind. Human kindness. So stop spunking all of our money from our taxes to people that shouldn't be getting it, but so that you can stand with your largesse on the world stage. Everybody look at me. Aren't I brilliant? No, you're fucking not. Because we're looking at you, and you're going to target the weakest in society. Obviously, unless you're Muslim or trans. It's unacceptable. Get the slackers out. Oh, obviously, weed those out, because there'll be tons of them. Scousers. It's like Scouser met Jesus once, and Jesus went to lay hands on him and heal him, and he was like, no, bugger off, I'll lose me benefits. Roy Gordon, naughty word. Oh, I've got plenty of them. Don't worry, Roy. Because we should be impassioned about this. We should feel aggrieved about this, because they are our political leaders and they should be doing our bidding. How can we look at this situation and look at the politicians and think they're evil? They're going to target the weakest in society. No. Unacceptable. Nicholas says, no politicians come from the passionate local councillors anymore. It's a graduate's career choice for the Wonga. That's brilliant. That's a great insight, Nicholas. Thank you for that. Andrew James, do you have a companion bus pass? If so, you won't be able to take a companion with you anymore. What's the point of that then? Hang on, if you're disabled and you need someone to help you, support you, get you on a bus and get you to your destination, they're going to have to pay to do that. Weird, man. Couple of quid on the bus. And they're stopping that to give billions to Sniffy Zelensky. I can't. There isn't a fibre in my body that agrees with that. And I agree that people should pay their way. People should, it should be community. I've said to you many times before on these lives, it's about our humanity. It's about our community. And it's not all tree hugging and kumbaya and all that malarkey. No, I'm not saying that. But I am suggesting that we should care for our fellow man and woman, those that are weaker than us and those that need our support. A companion bus pass being taken away for what? So that fat lad Lammy can go and spunk £500,000 in restaurants and bars using our taxpayers' money. No, no, no. Roy Gordon makes a very good point. It is basic instinct, Adrian. I look, when it's 5 years now, 5 years next week, or is it 5 years this week? 5 years ago, we were going into the first lockdown for 5 or 6 weeks, 2 years. So we went into lockdown. We weren't allowed to do anything except stand on our step, rattle our pots and pans, and say thank you to the NHS that were putting people on ventilators, which killed them. The evidence has come through from that. So the politicians, they were having parties. All of them. Currygate, Beergate, Fat Lad Clowngate, Bojo. They were all doing it. Cockeye come out. Rich Boy came out and said, yeah, I had a beer. I was thinking, hang on. You Muslim? How can you drink alcohol? Or maybe he was just toying with us. So there's one set of rules for them and there's rules for us, and they won't allow us to deviate, if you know what I'm saying, away from those things. And it's just, there's no integrity in politics or politicians anymore. And now they're going to target the weakest in society. No. We need to watch this over the next couple of weeks. Because they'll be, Vladimir, another 10 billion for you, mate. Is that enough? How much do you want to skim off the top, you wrong'un? Angela looked like Bibendum at PMQs today. What an unusual character. Well, Ginger Growler, she was wearing white. Bless her. How'd she get away with that? I'll leave you to make the gags up. But I want to talk about Zelensky in Qatar. Because my take on that is this. He wasn't there negotiating peace. That's already been done by the Trump, by the Donald, by Vladimir Putin, the people that actually matter in this particular scenario. And have you noticed how Trump wasn't there? He sent an envoy and team. And Putin wasn't there. He sent an envoy and team. But bloody Sniffy, if he's taking any marching powder with him, he's gone to Qatar. Why? Is he micromanaging everything? Because he doesn't want to get found out, does he? He doesn't want to get found out. Now, this is the bind that young Volodymyr finds himself in. There are two parts to this. There are those that want to keep him alive so they can skim money off the top. And there are those Ukrainians, they're Nazis, that want him dead. They want him gone. There are factions within Ukraine that want Zelensky dead. So why was he in Qatar? Because what he was negotiating was his safe passage after the war is finished. Whether it's going to be in America somewhere, have a bit of plastic surgery. He's got enough billions in the bank. Well, the missus has been brought off with handbags, shoes, handbags and glad rags and Bugattis. So she's got, when he went over to the White House, she was in New York buying £1.1 million worth of jewellery. She's been bought off. Keep your gob shut, darling, and well, you get some nice things, in my view. Who's AH? Some say, oh yes, he did. Yeah, in the South Africa English bottle, not South Africa, in the South America English bottle cap. I've mentioned this before, but so are you believing the news in the newspapers that the Pope is improving and he's doing this and he's doing that? They're preparing, man. He's as stiff as a board. So after the Second World War, very, very soon, towards the end of the Second World War, the Catholic Church was giving safe passage to the Nazis through the Vatican, through Italy, and then down into South America. Ray Norton says, I'm feeling something big's about to happen. Feel anxious. Anybody else feel the same? Yeah, I said a little earlier, it feels weird at the moment. I've been saying that for the last few lives. So the Catholic Church are culpable in getting the Nazis out of Germany and out of Europe and getting them through Italy, false passports into South America. That is documented. That is historical record. The Catholic Church. What, you think they're next to godly? That you think that he's the right-hand man of some old boy with a grey beard, a white frock playing a harp with wings? No, don't be silly. They're evil. They're evil. So Zelensky, I believe, was in Qatar negotiating his safe passage out of Ukraine, out of Europe, to somewhere else in the world where he could just lie in the sun and dance with the boys. Like genuinely dancing with the boys, because he's a dancer. So they've agreed a peace deal, 30-day ceasefire. So I believe that he's agreeing his exit from all of this. And what do I believe is going to happen? What's been negotiated? Well, he's just being told what. So the Qataris and the envoys and, you know, the Americans and the Russians have said, look, Volodymyr, mate, you've got a couple of billion. That's more than enough. Here's a good doctor in South America. Or go to Turkey. They're very good with plastic surgery in Turkey. Nobody will know it's even you. Even if you get some hair transplant, just sit on the plane. They'll not even know it's you. They'll see all the plugs in your bonds. And Angelic Inspirations, good point. Zelensky is a dead man walking. He murdered Gonzalo Lira. I will shed no tears. Well, I believe the only thing he was negotiating was his safe passage in Qatar. That's why the Donald didn't go. Or Putin. Because it's a done deal. It's a fait accompli for Zelensky. And he's happy to go along with it because he's made a shit ton of money. And he's not barking. He's not mad enough to tell everybody, oh yeah, I gave Joe Biden 100 million. Top of 69 says, evening, Adrian, and all you utter wrong-uns. 210 watching, 100 likes. Come on, people, hit the likes. Mind you, you might not like what I'm doing tonight. But you watch. You watch. It doesn't take Einstein to work out what these people are doing. 225 watching. What these people are doing. He wants a safe passage. He wants out. And he wants to take a whole load of... and the best way to get money out of any country, gold. And you know that Zelensky is one of those VIPs that will not have to declare anything when he goes through. He'll be whisked through the VIP section and then stuck on a plane and off he goes. Nobody will see him again. Once the war is finished, nobody will see him again, unless an assassin squad goes out to try and track him down and then take him out. Stuart says you should get a smash the likes mug made, Adrian. Very good. The Ubovril, yeah. Could put a tracker on there. Just follow where the Bugatti turns up. Put a tracker on the car. Next question. So let's get on to Nige and Rupat and civil war in reform. Now, a couple of days ago, Rupert Lowe was the bookmakers' favourite to be our next Prime Minister. I kid you not, Rupert Lowe was the bookmakers' favourite a couple of days ago, before it all kicked off, to be our next Prime Minister. So, who would you prefer? Would you prefer Farage as our next Prime Minister, or would you prefer Lowe as our next Prime Minister? One for Farage, either one or the word name Farage, or two, Rupert Lowe. Who would you prefer, genuinely prefer, as our next Prime Minister, if that is going to be the thing? One for Farage, two for Lowe. Cool, blimey. Who was that said that? There was a very good point. Stephen says, none of the sheeple know anything about Zelensky. All they know is orange man bad. I know. But he's not. He's a very, very, very clever puppy. Roy Gordon says, can I abstain? Des Ashton says 0, so neither of them. Bon says neither. Lauren Taylor, Manchurian candidate at play there in reform. Wonder who it is. Well, Paul Morton, 5. Revolution, please. Cool, Paul. I would like to be in Musk's pocket. Angelic Inspirations. So, I mean, there's only 5 MPs. So, who's going to lead reform? I don't know how you feel about this, but I believe reform's finished. It's not, it had momentum. You don't have members of the Reform Party, you have subscribers. Different. So they've got 200, I looked at 211, somebody was saying 220-ish subscribers to the Reform Party. But this is, where they find themselves is in a quagmire. This is not something that you get out by kissing and making up. This is ideology at play. And you now have, today, it came out that Farage doesn't want to deport illegals coming in. Lowe wants to deport them all. And I thought that Farage and Reform were hanging their coat on getting rid of anybody that comes into this country illegally. And yet Farage isn't. But I always thought he was. So what has made him do this? I mean, Des makes a very good point. Who hit the self-destruction button? Because that's what this is. It's a schism in right-wing politics, if you want to label them anything. If you want to label them right-wing, because they may not be. They might just be common sense. But you know that the Labour Party are so far left of Marxism, anybody that they come up against, they'll just label them right-wing. But we know better. But everybody seems to be going for Rupert Lowe. Tina says, I can't forgive Farage for disappearing after the Brexit vote won. I had great hopes for him. Angelic Inspirations, reform will be reformed. There is a vacuum that will be filled. And nature doesn't like a vacuum. Ray Norton, Farage, controlled opposition. Stephen Hall, Farage thrown under the bus again. Farage hit the self-destruct in 2016 in English bottle cap. Thank you, Stephen. Simon Smedley, Mohammed Youssef. That's a very good point, Simon. Because when they are trying to distract you, I mean, so he's called a particular name, a particular epithet. It doesn't make any difference. But you know that they've got a whole load of money coming in, a nice gravy train coming into the Reform Party. They don't want that leaving and disappearing and going out of the station. Rich, Farage just looks after himself. Tina says, at Andrew, Farage also backed out of the... Yeah, we did that one. Musk still supports the Reform Party. But, do you know, I was trying to think of natural progressions, and Musk is still supporting Stephen Yaxley-Lennon. And so is there going to be... And as I said on my Twitter, I know Amalia has seen this photograph of Liz Truss and Rupert Lowe dining together. So is Rupert aware of what's going on in the background? Is he hearing whispers that Farage doesn't like him or something? So he's thinking, well, I'll just get a new party together. Why not? I don't think this is... I just think this is causing too much damage. The reason why it's causing damage to Reform UK, the political party, is because everybody was hoping that they were the answer. The political classes, the parasitic classes, no. They're not going to have you have hope. They are going to hold on to power. They're evil, these individuals. They're not even human. They're evil. And they want to hold on to the power. They're not going to let Reform queer that particular pitch. See what I did there? Andrew Crisp, Musk has said he would back any party Rupert Lowe would start. So, I mean, I don't know what Nigel's done to Elon while he's been out in Mar-a-Lago. Maybe he's just pissed him off. We don't know. Clash of personalities. Big personalities do that. Don't know. But I know that this is done for Reform. Because it depends what the Met find in their investigation. I've been trying to find the details of all that, but it's not easily accessible. So you've got Farage who's saying, look, you know, this has happened to me before. And Rupert Lowe is trying to stay on message. I mean, poor Nigel, he can literally taste victory. Has he snatched defeat from the jaws of victory? But I know one thing. If this is political shenanigans, the people of the Sceptred Isle, they don't do not being fair. Fairness is a big thing for the Brits, we English. Fairness. And if you're not being fair, we'll just vote with our feet. Wow, Steve Lockwood. Hey, Adrian, watching you live from Tenerife. I always watch you on catch-up when back home in the UK, but you are always informative and always spot on. Keep up your great work. Thank you, Steve. So I think that Reform's done. It's finished. This schism is, I mean, they can't even put elastoplasts over this. This is ideological separation for Reform. And big personalities are going to do what big personalities do. But a lot of people were liking what Rupert Lowe was saying. And he'd worked out that in Parliament, written questions are the way of getting information out of the government. And Rupert Lowe has submitted hundreds of written questions. And the others, not even anywhere near, not even combined do they come up to his total. So maybe Rupert is just sitting at about 900. Thank you, Adam. I just know that if Rupert's seen an opportunity for grandiosity, then maybe he's going to take it. But if there's any truth to the rumours that we're hearing from the Reform Party about his behaviour, then he's done. He's done as a politician. He's done within the Reform Party. He's done with any other party because the Britons won't like any unfairness or any creepy stuff. And Nigel, well, maybe this has happened to him before, but I'll say it again. If there is any underhandedness, any backroom, backstabbing night of long knives, then the British people won't stay. And can you believe that the parasitic classes, the political classes, have actually been given victory to them on a silver plate, on a silver platter? They haven't had to do anything. And what this is doing is it's possibly handing the Labour Party a second term. Because if there's no Reform Party, who would you vote for? Who would you vote for? Ed Davey? Kemi not good enough? Starmer? Ginger Growler? Rachel Reeves? David Lammy? So Lammy's eating the Labour Party out of house and home. You've got Rachel Reeves, who's about to target the weakest in society and do their knees. And then you've got Ginger Growler. I mean, maybe she's trying to be David Prescott. He went into the House of Lords, but I remember watching him at PMQ, standing in for Tony Blair, and he was, oh, hello, yes, I'm from Hull, and I'm enunciating my words very carefully, and, well, it's lovely to be here, and I will answer my honourable friend's questions. As where he'd be like, right, Northern, hi, right, Northern. But then, all of a sudden, he put into the House of Lords. So he's obviously gone, no, to the House of Lords. No. I can be one of you. I can join in. £361 per day attendance allowance. That's how he ended up in the House of Lords, just by being a little more posh and being from Hull. So maybe Mancunian Ginger Growler has got to go the same way. Maybe that's how they'll get rid of her. Well, she was deputy. Have you noticed, has she done PMQs yet? Linda Lewis. Not the Linda Lewis, surely Linda. UKIP or Heritage Party? Interesting. But is there, out of this particular set of ashes, will a phoenix arise? Because they don't care about anything else other than power. Power. Sound like Jeremy Clarkson. Power. So, is it merely popular politics? So it's a popularity contest. Will it be the Tory party? Will it be a new party? Will it be the Liz Truss party with Rupert Lowe? Here's a one for you, and thank you to my mate Dean for suggesting this. Would it be the Republican Party UK? So they can tie into the Donald. Oh, can you imagine? Because look, the Donald wants our NHS. The Americans want us to be the 51st state. We already are, really. But they want us to be their 51st state. So they can just land grab. They can do anything they want. They want to have the money in the square mile in London. And the Donald wants the NHS because it's a cash cow. So this is, I believe, at the heart of who we are. We believe in fairness and justice and uprightness. We believe that we look after the weakest in society. Yeah, we've got slackers. Yeah, we've got people that are at it. We can sort those out. But this is at the heart of who we are. We don't like what King Charles the Weak is doing. We don't like what Keir Starmer is doing because it's at the heart of who we are. Fair play, fairness. And don't start shafting us. Whoa, don't do anything. Terry Wookford says, good news for the Starmer and co. Yank negotiating team hasn't even arrived yet, and he says Ukraine must withdraw from the annexed territories of the Donbass and plans to join NATO before any ceasefire. Whoa, hang on a second. So, who's this jumped up little clown? Because it's not for Starmer to negotiate shit all. It's got nothing to do with him. Absolutely nothing. And he's dictating terms. Who the fuck to? Tell you what, if the Donald's watching this, or Elon, if you're watching this, you know that intelligence you've got on that daft bastard called Starmer? Get it out, put it in the press. Just tell the press we'll give you loads of advertising, we'll give you loads of money. So whatever you know about Starmer, because you've got something on him, the puppet masters in the shadows have got something really, really, really saucy on Starmer. Might be bad, might be dark, could be anything. But have something on him, they have. So the Donald, here, just publish it. Put it in the Washington Post, because, you know, the bloke that owns Amazon, Jeff Bezos, he owns that paper. Just get it out there. Just give them the exclusive. Terry Woodford, no, these are terms from Putin. Starmer wants the war to go on. That's why he's organising peacekeepers. Oh, Starmer can go and go off. Sorry, Foxtrot Oscar. You notice when my rage comes up, I'm not, my potty mouth isn't measured or appropriate or proportionate. It really, really, really pisses me off that these clowns, look, what's going to happen? And I was going to say this a little earlier before Terry posted that. Putin is going to get everything he asked for. Everything. Because Putin wants to look like he's won the war. And how would that look? He doesn't want the UN on his west coast. He doesn't want Poland. Now remember, Poland, where's my... This is because I didn't follow. Poland, the Polish Prime Minister, is it Tusk? The Polish Prime Minister has said that every Polish male should prepare for military service. So Poland's not a kick in the arse. If this was kind of everybody was having a go at Saladin with the Richard the Lionheart and the Crusaders, they'd be lobbing over the bombs, the big bits of rock. That Poland is that close to Russia. He wants the Donbass region. He wants Crimea for the minerals and the oil and the gas. And I've said this a million times. And it'll be interesting to see how many other YouTubers, when it suddenly goes mainstream, will be onto this going, oh, I've been saying this for years. Have you? Bollocks. Newty Brown, 14-hole docks. Loved them in a Harrington. Me too, Newty Brown. Oh, my youth. Farage will join the Tory party and lead them to victory in 2029. Oh, the old Bovril. Wow, that's left field. But he was at the Tory party conference last year, and everybody was like fating him and wanting to be friends with him. So unless Rupert has worked out that, this is politics, that Farage wants to lead, because Kemi not good enough is literally not good enough. She's shite, man. I watch it and I'm like, oh, well, somebody put a rocket up her arse. Oh, yeah, is that Humza Yousaf, the former First Minister? Kemi is a placeholder. I agree with you, Rich. I completely agree with you. But a placeholder for who? Is it Bojo the Clown? Are they going to get him back in? Or is it going to be Farage? He's going to have this schism with Rupert. He's a politician now. So, war, Putin, Ukraine. Zelensky has negotiated his exit strategy. Putin wants the Donbass because of all the minerals and stuff that's under there, and he wants Crimea to retain Crimea for the gas and oil in the Black Sea. Now, BlackRock and everybody else can have their bits of land and stuff, but that's what Putin wants. And Starmer, he's some intellectual pygmy. He wants to be on the world stage. He can't sit in the same office as the Donald, because the Donald, when they're giving a press conference, he's like, do you want to say anything? Right, that's enough. Do as you're told. Because they know what's in his background. And any time when they want rid of him, they're just going to offer it to the press. The American press, British press won't report it. They'll shut themselves. I do believe that what the press in this country haven't recognised is that the left wing people are so unhappy with Labour, the Labour Party that we don't recognise. We don't understand them and don't recognise them, but they're all on the grift, corrupt, on the grift. Now, look, who was it? One of the MPs hadn't put in the members' records, some freebie that she'd had like 2 weeks before. They're all just grifting stuff. I mean, I'm surprised they're not grifting houses. Bojo's been noticeably invisible and quiet for a while now. I think he has to put space and time in between what happened with lockdown, because he had to do that, and it was a fight to the death between Sunak and Johnson, and Sunak was a very shrewd operator. The people, I don't know whether it was the 1922 committee, but it was the people in the shadows that were pulling the puppet strings. They wanted Sunak in power. And what did they do? Him and Liz Truss went up against each other, and they went out into the burbs, and they presented to the Conservative Party members out in the suburbs, and they chose Liz Truss. So the Conservative Parliamentary Party decided that they didn't want Liz Truss. They wanted Rishi Sunak, because he obviously would make them more money. As David Cameron. First thing he did, Israel and Ukraine. What the bloody hell for? So the Conservative Parliamentary Party chose Rishi Sunak, and they wouldn't allow anybody outside of the Conservative Parliamentary Party to vote. That's how you do it. You just rig the vote. You just rig the election. That's what they do. Stalking horses, my hairy backside. So Sunak gets in. So now you've got Starmer. You'll notice that nobody is trying to get rid of Starmer until the time is right. We know that they are corrupt because they stopped 5 million people voting in local council elections. I mean, they're evil, because they know that people will go out and vote the Labour councils out of power. And that's Labour's power base. The working man and woman on the street, seemingly. Until you get 100 grand worth of freebies. Nice work. Can you imagine? Some Labour Party voters would have taken close to 10 years to earn that, and Starmer gets it in freebies on top of his wage. Des Ashton said they did what the puppet master told them. I know. So and I asked you this question, was it last Sunday or last Wednesday? What do you think it is that they've got on Starmer that allows them to control him? And if you think about it, that's all politics is. You've got Diddy, as in P. Diddy, and the P. Diddy parties, and he's got tapes of politicians. I can only begin to kind of balk at what people are saying they've got on Hillary Clinton and Bill. Well, we know what they've got on Bill. It's all over Monica Lewinsky's dress. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Mate, your spunk's all over her dress, man. I did not. You bloody did. The DNA's there, mate. It's not. No, don't do that, Adrian. That's over-egging the pudding. The Bovril, you're right on it tonight, Mrs. Les Clinton. Have you noticed how some of these politicians actually are getting younger the older they get? I mean, look at, have a look at Hillary Clinton and sorry, I'm being distracted. She just gets younger. She gets younger. I mean, I know they're talking about adrenochrome. Have you seen that meme where drag this out of the back of your brain, man. Clockwork Orange. In Clockwork Orange, one of the characters is standing in front of some graffiti on the wall, and part of the graffiti is the word adrenochrome. So they've known about this since the 70s, the early 70s, late 60s. But it could be Botox, but every time I see it, I think, is that a mask? Is that like a little actress? Or is it Jim Carrey doing Joe Biden? Is it because they've got everything out there? Do you want to come in here and do the live with me? So Diddy, sorry, I'll get back on track. Just a little annoyance. So Diddy was a sex ring. Diddy had the videos. He had all the evidence, has all the evidence. He's still in jail. He's not been in front of the beak, but he's still in jail. Jeffrey Epstein. I told you in December, one of my predictions for 2025 was, I told you that Jeffrey Epstein was going to make an appearance. And everybody laughed at me and said, no, he's dead. Is he? Is he? How do you know? You were never in that jail. And neither was he. I told you that Jeffrey Epstein would make an appearance. Go and get your popcorn. 2025 is going to get very interesting. Diddy, Epstein, these sex rings, the only way that you can manipulate politicians to do your bidding and do not argue about what I'm telling you to do is because you have to have something on them. So whether it's kids or multiple partners and the wife won't find out, or money that's being funneled through your son, the big guy gets 10%. 100 million. Well, 92 to be more accurate. So 2025, there are still things coming, and they will use that to distract you when they're up to stuff. And I'm telling you that the Labour Party in this country and the Democratic Party in America, they're both hewn from the same cloth. They're evil. And it doesn't matter what political... Remember, Donald Trump was originally a Democrat. Originally a Democrat. And then he went over to the Republicans. And he's found so much corruption just through the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, United States Agency for International Development. They found so much corruption in that, and the use of that particular agency that was buying people off worldwide, and there were kickbacks to American politicians. It's so corrupt that they couldn't believe the amount of corruption that they found. And now they're going on to other departments within the government. Wait till they get to health. Oi, 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 oi. And everybody just thinks that the orange man's a bit mad. That's why the Dems are at it. That's why Starmer is kissing Donald Trump's ring. And in this country, it's all corrupt. The corruption, I mean, it's endemic everywhere. You look at anything, and there's kickbacks left, right, and centre. The councils are going bankrupt. Why is Birmingham, and why are, who was the other one? There are loads of councils that are going bankrupt, Birmingham being a prime example. And yet all they're going to do is they're going to put the council tax up. For what? Do we have a councillor equivalent to David Lammy or Ginger Growler or Rachel from Accounts? Nicholas says also in Clockwork Orange, Moloko narcotic-filled milk drink, Moloko Plus, in the Anthony Burgess novel, based on a Russian word for milk of youth. Ooh, right. Birmingham Council going bust because of the equal pay deal, says Rich. Oh, I think, look, I have to be very careful how I verse this. But I'm well aware in the northeast of England, in County Durham in particular, there was a councillor that was living in the Bahamas. and taken all of his expenses for being a councillor and doing meetings, and afforded him a lifestyle in the Bahamas. How does that work? Oh, no, I'm fine. I'll come back for the meetings. They will do what they do if they can get away with it. And that happens. English Bottle Cap says, no more mayors, for fuck's sake. It's just a level of management, a tier of management that we don't need. But if they're running out of money, and nobody is asking this, whether it be at a national level or a local level, show us the books. Show us what you've spent it on. Show us the line items so we can add that fecker up. We can work out how much money you're getting because of what the national government is allowing you and what you're collecting as tax. Then show us the books. If you're bankrupt, we will more than happily support you and get you back on track, but show us the books. And if you can't, we're going to have you in a court of law for fraud. It's that simple. It really is that simple. But what they don't do is they don't allow you to see the books, see where they've spent it, see how they've spent it, and see what they've spent it on. They don't. They just want you to be thick and stupid and asleep. So wait, because there's more councils coming that go, oh, well, we've got no money. We'll have to get some money from the Labour Party. No, you won't. I mean, there's Mayor Carnage. He's taxing the buggery out of the poor Londoners. At least we can see through their bullshit. I think I've used up every penny in that swear box tonight. Adrenochrome is a 2017 horror film. Is it really? Burlington Bertie, thank you for that. I'll see if I can... is it available on DVD on Amazon? Ray Norton. Leaflets in 20 languages and interpreters. Wow. I get it. The bill for interpreters is massive. It runs into millions and millions and millions. Look. The clue is in the title of the country. England. What do we speak? English. We need to get some people, civil servants, down on the Kent coast. Can you speak English? No. Chuck them back in the water. Can you speak English? Yeah, a little bit. Un petit peu. Diversity. Male, female. How diverse do you want us to be? Ginger, white, dark, a myriad of skin colours. But that shouldn't be diversity. And our culture, according to the UN, our culture should stay our culture. Now, I'm not quite sure about those maypole dancers with, bells on the rats and the... some people like it. It's just not my taste. Oh, English Bottle Cap, you're wrong. Some really good films can be watched for free on Archive website. Oh, I say. I might just take you up on that. Andrew James says, Woking at 2.2 billion in debt. How the bloody hell do you end up 2.2 billion in debt? Same as Thames Water, because nobody is watching what you're doing. So in the end, we're 2.2 billion in debt, Your Honour, Prime Minister. Can you bail us out? And they'll go to the taxpayers going, we've had to bail Woking out. But what they're not doing is going, right, show us what you've spent it on for the last 5 years. Show us what you've done. And if there's any hooky stuff, you go into jail. I don't care. Is that your backside? Here, shove a bung up your backside because you're evidently starting to shit yourself. We are going to have a look at what you've done with the taxpayers' money. And that's all that's happening in America. That's why the Democrats are absolutely beside themselves. They're apoplectic. They've been found out. This country only has a little while to wait. So whether it's Rupert or the Nige, head of the Tories or head of Reform or head of UKIP, Musk wants Stephen Yaxley Lennon in power. So don't know where Stephen's going to go when he comes out. But politics over the next 3 to 4 years is going to be very interesting. Labour's finished. It's done. They're over. But I've told you that since before Starmer got elected. I did say to you, and I know that you know this, Is he scaring you yet? I told you what was coming. And the Tories, they're just little shag nasties. They don't care about the money. They've all got the money. They've all got millions, unless you're Boris, of course, in which case you get paid by big arms firms to tell Zelensky, keep going, mate, keep going. Yeah, we'll bring some more bombs for you and aircraft and stuff. Yeah, keep going. How much was that worth? Oh, you definitely need to give me a couple of mil for that. So the next 3 or 4 years is going to be interesting. The Tory party's finished. The Labour party's finished. Ed Davey and the Lib Dems finished. The Greens, they've never amounted to anything in their lives, finished. So it's what comes out of the ashes of these failed and ruinous politicians and parties. That's what's going to be interesting over the next 3 or 4 years. But Nige has the Trump's playbook. And I wouldn't believe everything that you see on TV. Right, you wrong'uns. Thank you for tonight. Loved it. I still didn't get to the end of my questions or the subject, but I'm going to leave it at that if you don't mind. The thing that I was going to do, I'm going to record first thing in the morning. If you haven't seen it already, please go and watch the 6-minute apology video from the BBC, because I think you'll find it interesting. In the field, nobody in the country has the minerals to look into anything. As soon as they discover that they can make a few bob, a few shilling, then they're in. I know, it's corrupt. It's all corrupt. But they're being found out now. It's interesting that this is all being covered up. Can you remember, who was the guy, the comedian, American comedian, who said they're all going to catch hell this year? Rich says, where's the BBC video aid? If you just go to my page, if you just go to the list of my contents, it should be on there. But what I'll do when I finish this live, I'll stick it in the description here. So you can just click on the link. And it's, like I say, it's only 6 minutes. There's Ashton. Unless it is consumed by the flames, there will be no phoenix rising from the ashes. Well, may they burn in hell, the lot of them, because they're going to catch it. That's in Yemen. The capsizers. Bond says, thanks, Adrian. Very entertaining and informative. Thank you very much. Thank you for being there. Thank you for staying with me tonight. Thank you for watching for a couple of hours. I do hope you got some value from it. That UN bit of research, I was so excited when I got it. That's why I had to do it early in the live, because they've got to be careful, because there's international law and there's the laws of this land, those feckers. So next live, Sunday, 8 o'clock, of course. And there will be other videos over the next couple of days. I'm going to try to get back into it, because lots of things have been going on in the background. Nikki Watson says, thanks, Adrian. Another good one. Take care, all. See you on Sunday. To everybody that's been in the chat, thank you very much for your insight and your votes and your comments this evening. Really enjoyed them. I'll have a look at them tomorrow. Thank you for your likes. If you haven't already, you're utter wrong, and go and smash the likes on the way out. And please leave the body of the Kirk in some semblance of tidiness, because I'm getting it tight from Sister Mary. Bless her. Tight is not something that I would have associated with nuns, to be fair. And the choir boys are just they're all off their face on gear, because I can never understand them, either speaking or in actions. So I hope that you will stay well and healthy. We'll be there for Sunday at 8 o'clock. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. My name's Adrian Allen. This is the Theatre of the Mind. I think we might have a tidy body of the Kirk this evening. And the Theatre of the Mind, please, is more than just the headlines. See you Sunday, 8 o'clock. And I'll put the link to the video in the description of this video once I've finished. See you later.